B&T Advanced Police Carbine, or APC9, is an exceptional specimen of firearms design and manufacturing by any measure. And it's really become the platinum standard by which all subguns are measured in the 21st century. Hi, I'm Sean Burrows with B&T USA, and I absolutely love talking about the APC line of Swiss Super Blasters. And as much as I want to cover in detail about these things, I figured I might as well just start at the beginning. And with all the details I want to go into, it's just going to take more than one video. So might as well get comfortable, hit that subscribe button, and let's start at the beginning. I have in my hands a semi-auto civilian variant of the original APC9. It's got a cool origin story and an impressive track record, much like B&T themselves. Since 1991, B&T has been a manufacturer and designer of some of the industry's most advanced suppressors, firearms parts, and accessories. And under the watchful eye and technical direction of original co-founder Karl Brügger, B&T has evolved into the world leader in complete state-of-the-art tactical weapon systems that it is today. The design for the APC9 comes out of, as the story goes, what Karl had an idea for what he envisioned a 21st century MP5 would consist of. So while sitting in a cafe, he proceeded to sketch it out on a napkin. From there, Karl's team of designers took the idea from sketch to prototype in less than 45 days. And in 2011, the APC9 was announced to the world. Now, it might not seem to some that the world really even needs another pistol caliber PDW, but as you'll soon see, the Advanced Police Carbine isn't just a single firearm. It is a concept out of which a whole family of complete weapons platforms covering a multitude of calibers and applications have come into being. I'm just starting with a 9mm subgun because that's where the story begins. Internet sages will say that the MP5 is the apex of subgun perfection, and in a 20th century context, I will say that you're not wrong. But Cold War manufacturing techniques combined with the mechanical complexities of the delayed roller lock system upon which these guns operate create what I call the gun equivalent to owning a BMW. They run at almost magical levels of smooth and flat until parts start to wear out. Then parts are hard to come by, and when you do come by them, they're expensive and they must be expertly administered in order to get your ultimate shooting machine back to its wonder years of perfect working order. And this is where the simplicity and the miracles of 21st century manufacturing and design come into play. The APC9 is a direct blowback gun, but it shoots as soft and as flat as an MP5. Recoil management, it takes care of itself. How is this possible? Let's get into it. The APC9 has a recoil spring and a guide rod, but it has an additional hydraulic buffer on the back that softens felt recoil and reduces muzzle rise. That means no more delicate spring-loaded wheels on the carrier that are going to wear out after 100,000 rounds. The APC9 is Glock levels of simple to field strip, clean, lubricate, put back together, and maintain. Not to mention it's just easy to shoot. Even shooters with little to moderate fundamentals are able to deliver precise and consistent fast follow-up shots on moderate target presentations because it's easy to handle, it's simple to operate. And for those of us with a more polished and experienced shooting skill set, you just don't have to work as hard to deliver the hits that you want to. Whether they're precise or under tight time constraints, the APC9 makes all of those just a lot easier to deliver. So ultimately, simple design and construction means fewer moving parts and fewer things that could possibly go wrong or wear out under prolonged use. For example, the upper receiver and handguard are one in a single machined monolithic design. The fore-end area comes with a very familiar quad rail style design for mounting all sorts of accessories where you would prefer to have them. The 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock rails are removable to expose M-lock style slots for other accessory mounting options. Interestingly enough, unlike US manufactured firearms, the upper receiver is the serialized portion, not the lower, This will matter more when we discuss other variants of the APC9, but for now, this is just a fact to make note of. Now, built into the front and rear of the accessory rail are these backup emergency flip-up sights. The front sight is fixed, but the rear sight is adjustable for elevation. I have this Aimpoint Acro P1 mounted on a low QD mount from B&T, so I have absolute co-witness with these backup irons in case I run out of batteries, which is common with the P1. That's why we have the P2 now, but I can use the irons looking through the optic, or with the QD mount, it's very easy to remove quickly, and you use the irons and the gun's still functional. Empty with a folded stock or brace, this gun is about 15 inches long and weighs 6 pounds. It's a very tiny footprint. With B&T folding stocks, the gun is still capable of firing from a folded position. So if you're trying to deploy it, you can still shoot it until you can get it into a shoulderable position. The Trilug Cold Hammer Forged black nitride coated barrel is 175 millimeters long, which comes in at just under 7 inches. I think it's 6.89 inches. It has a 1 in 10 twist rate. Now the charging handle on this variant is reciprocating. That means every time I pull the trigger and the carrier comes back, so will the charging handle. From the factory, the charging handle was on the right side, but you can move it over to the left, which I did. It just makes more sense for me. I perform all my manipulations, loads and reloads with my support hand. Offsetting the substantial mass of the unibody machined upper receiver housing a cold hammer forged barrel is a lightweight, durable, ergonomic polymer lower. The grip is a combination of narrow enough and angled just right to where people with very small hands and people with very large hands, even wearing gloves, can operate this thing. The safeties are wide, ambidextrous, and have just a 45-degree throw. So you don't have to adjust your grip very much, if at all, to turn them on and off. For those of you very familiar with shooting AR-style platforms, the bolt release and magazine release are in familiar spots, but they also have a companion control on the opposite side. So they're completely ambidextrous, which allows right-handed shooters and left-handed shooters to have controls in the exact same spot, and it opens up the possibilities for more efficient operations such as bolt lock reloads happening a little bit faster once you get used to operating these things at speed. The stock trigger is really smooth. It has about 4 millimeters of pre-travel, around a 5-pound break, and the reset is right at the wall. So operating it with precise, predictable shooting happens really soon. There's not a lot to get used to. The bolt catch is also ambidextrous, but it is not in the same place as the bolt release. Instead, it is right at the front of the bottom of the trigger guard, just before the magazine. Well, it's this little button. You just simply push up on, pull back the charging handle, and it will lock the action open. B&T makes magazines that come in 10, 20, and 30 round capacities. I know some of you are wondering, why would anyone want anything less than 30 rounds? But when using this as a backpack gun, the 20 round option is a really nice variant, and then keep your 30s around as reload possibilities. It's even nice to have the 10 round mag sometimes when zeroing for various distances on sandbags. I also like the fact that the magazines are translucent, so I can glance down at the magazine and get a good estimate for how much remaining round count I have on a mag and plan a reload accordingly. Because of the APC's tall form factor, putting a fully loaded magazine in on a closed bolt and seating it is not an issue. There's no extra push or tap needed. It goes in really easily. This little jet funnel on the bottom is made by B&T. It helps just funnel the magazine in a little bit easier when reloading with gloves under pressure, and allows for a little extra slop when swapping out magazines. So I put it on all of my 9mm B&Ts. So when it comes to a private citizen having one of these, outside of, wow, that's cool, I want one, what makes an APC9 worth having? I mean, this whole time I've been talking about the simple design, the durable construction with the inherent reliability, and the minimal maintenance required. But how does that translate? Well, when setting up something like a dedicated home defense gun, something like the APC9 is really attractive for a few reasons. Whether you live in a state that allows you to have a suppressor or not, shooting guns indoors, like your home when you're defending it, is really loud. And shooting a pistol caliber is substantially less loud than a rifle caliber. Yet having something in a pistol caliber that you can put up against your shoulder that has an optic giving you rifle-like precision and maybe a devastatingly bright light would probably be more preferable when something goes bump in the night and the adrenaline's dumping and every shot you make matters. This kind of setup will give you the confidence and capabilities of delivering shots that will more than likely be successful as opposed to something like a handgun. And when I'm talking about shots counting, I'm not just talking about delivering the hits on they who should not be in your home, but also not missing. Collateral damage is not something you nor I can afford to even consider. Not to mention, with the added barrel length, you're maximizing additional ballistic energy you wouldn't likely get from a compact or even duty-size handgun. I'm sure you can see at this point some of the highlights as to why I think the APC line of guns is just one of my favorite ever made, ever. And I hope you join me in the next installment as we kind of go deeper into variants of the APC9 and other calibers coming soon. So please don't forget to subscribe. Again, I'm Sean Burrows. If you have any questions, comments, or requests, just leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.